Planet Earth is home to millions of species, including the human race. However, since the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century, the planet has changed. The discovery of fossil fuels as an energy source has, in the opinion of many, given the human race the tools with which to scar the environment we depend on. Global warming is big news, and much emphasis has been put on the need to change our way of living. Our dependency on fossil fuels has been cited by many as a major factor in global warming. Millions of tons of coal, oil and gas are consumed each year by our world's industries. The house and construction industry is no different. But can it be? One Long Sutton architect believes changes can be made. Dr. Jerry Harrell of Seach Architecture is making inroads in proving that sustainable ecological housing can be achieved on a wide scale. Jerry and his small but growing business boast an impressive portfolio of environmentally conscious residential and business complexes. All are dramatically opening eyes to the possible changes that could be made to an industry responsible for 60% of Britain's carbon emissions.
My name's Dr. Jerry Harrell, Chartered Architect with Seach, Sustainable Ecological Architecture. Seach is a small and growing architectural practice in the market town of Long Sutton in the South Lincolnshire Fen. Here we're growing an extraordinary collection of buildings, what we like to refer to as an eclectic group of environmentally responsible development. Back in 1996, I was looking for the opportunity to see to what extent I could design and build, using the skills and knowledge I'd accrued to date, a group of properties that didn't require the use of fossil fuels to either heat them or to power them. Well, 10 years later, we're nearly there. We're filming at present from my first office, the office that we built and occupied back in 2003, a property that has achieved zero heating and natural ventilation for the past 8 years. We've managed to sustain, on average, a 21-degree average internal ambient air temperature. That temperature has varied by plus or minus 2 degrees centigrade throughout the year. It's done naturally. There's no mechanical intervention for heating at all. No boilers, no radiators, no fossil fuels, no pipe work, no embedded services. It's heated via the sun. The building's orientated round the path of the sun. It's slightly east of south, picking up as much of the rising sun as possible. The heat from the sun charges the concrete. It then re-emits that heat back into the rooms at times when the temperature outside the building is less than that inside. It's helped to do this with an insulated jacket all around it. 140 millimeters of extruded polystyrene entirely enveloping the building. We're nice and snug in here, and it's all free.
Much in the same vein as the office, Jerry's home is a measure of his theory's success, with both buildings applying a unique principle to aid the conservation of heat energy. Jerry argues that the standard home's basic design flaws are the reason available heat from the sun is not collected and the heat mechanically generated is easily lost. Earth sheltering is the practice of mounding earth upon the exterior walls of the dwelling. This earth serves as an extra layer of insulation to aid the building in retaining heat.
The buildings we're looking at here in Long Sutton are at present almost all exclusively earth sheltering. It's a building form that one could describe as esoteric. It has a niche market. On this particular site, it was perfect. The site is in the open countryside, and residential development at the time was not permitted. Part of the reason the planners gave for granting us planning approval was because the building was earth sheltered, covered in plants, It knitted itself, it integrated into the open countryside. There are other virtues to the planting. If you consider that this particular building that we're looking at today, my home, produces no carbon dioxide emissions in occupation. Given that fact, the plants that we see behind us are evergreen. They fix carbon dioxide during the day, predominantly during the summer, in a positive way. What we have here is a building with the benefit of evergreen planting, covering its entire fabric, has the ability to absorb more carbon dioxide than it generates. Now that is a unique attribute to earth-sheltered buildings. Another attribute to earth-sheltered buildings is the benefit of a maturing canopy over the fabric of the building through the plants. As the shrubs mature, they create a space between the plant and the soil. That space is filled with air rich in oxygen and high in relative humidity. It's perfect for reducing or further reducing the rate of heat loss out of the building. It's wonderful. It's like another coat.
Jerry and his family live comfortably in a home that maintains an approximate temperature of 21 degrees, relying on only nature, human occupation, and its own design. If such a drastic case seems an achievable success, why are homes still being built with the shackles of fossil fuel dependency?
You've got to question why it is the British construction industry is pursuing a house form that clearly is not going to relieve a household from the use of fossil fuels. Every box, those bland, soulless, boring boxes that are now blighting our landscape, have encumbered all the households for in perpetuity on the use of gas, oil and other fossil fuels. Why? When the government knows, the government, through the Buildings Research Establishment, knows that you can design, construct and deliver buildings without any requirement for space heating. The answer might be, if we look at where the Buildings Research Establishment are seeking their funding, it comes from predominantly the speculative house builder, the manufacturer of boilers, ground source heat pumps, air-to-air source heat pumps, mechanical ventilation. Well, all these people, all these businesses have vested interests to see their products continue to be used. Any wonder that the speculative house builder is having to comply with a set of rigid guidance that really offers no alternative but to produce the bland, soulless box.
Redrow Homes are one such speculative house builder. They said, with regard to their eco-policy,
minimising our own effects on the environment is central to our sustainability policy. All our homes comply with the current building regulations and perform 40% better than homes built pre-2002 in terms of energy efficiency, and 70% better than homes built pre-1990. The products we market ultimately have to match customer requirements, and there is a long way to go to educate customers to the point that they have a positive preference for energy efficient or code compliant homes over what they currently see as the benefits of an older traditional property.
could it be that it is us, the consumers, who are hindering this building form with opinions? Perhaps the jewel in Jerry's architectural crown is Unity Garden, a development on the outskirts of Long Sutton, which is made up of 6 homes, all following the same principles of Jerry's previous designs. Despite the apparent benefits of their design, Unity Gardens has encountered some criticism. Long Sutton resident Layla Drake Despain lives in a traditional house next door to Unity Gardens and possibly represents the consumer attitude that would appear to be concerning house building.
The looks of the eco houses on Bridge Road aren't very nice to look at all. They're out of character with Long Sutton, they're out of character with the countryside, they look more like tractor sheds than houses, they are totally wrong. There's only one word to call them, and that is crap. Utter crap. I could have designed one better than what they are. Nobody likes them. Inside, the design is horrible. They have the living room, the dining room, the kitchen all slung into one. The old-fashioned prefabs had more room and was more leisurely spaced. These aren't spaced. They haven't even got a loft in which to put anything in. And the middle row, poor devils, when they look out of their window, all they see is a lovely brick part of the house in front, which is all brick. It is horrible. I wouldn't like to live in one. He could have at least done a decent and a better design than what they are. There's quite a few people in Long Sutton who've asked me, what the hell are they that they're building next to you? I said, they're eco houses. Well, when they're taking all that silly earth away from, when they're going to move that, it looks like a building site. And that's the comments we've had. And I said, well, the eco houses. Ooh, wouldn't want to live in one of them.
Layla Drake Despain would seem not to be alone in her dislike for the development. Several other residents of Bridge Road also seem to take issue with the design.
We think they are an abomination. They look awful. The wind turbine is an eyesore. You sit in your living room and all you can see is that going round and around.
I was originally against it. The nose of the wind turbine affects the people across the road.
It's unsightly. It's turned into a bit of a tip.
With these opinions seeming to suggest that the majority would prefer a more conventional style, how do the residents of Unity Gardens feel about the site?
I chose to live in one of these houses because I could see it was an opportunity for a new way of life. And it's proving to be a new way of life as well. They are cheap to run, cheap to heat. I mean, we have not paid, we've been here since July, and we have not paid for 1 penny of electricity. I really enjoy it. One of the main reasons of coming here was that they wanted to bring back the old neighbourly community, and it's good. I mean, people help each other. You're never doing anything on your own for long before somebody's there offering assistance. And that's what, because I believe that the community spirit has largely gone in this country, and this was an opportunity to come into a place where they wanted to bring that community spirit back together, and I really do enjoy it.
Much like the very notion of global warming, Jerry's style of design seems to have split opinion. Does this divide of opinion mean that there is little chance of the benefits being felt by Jerry and the Unity Garden residents being passed on to a larger market?
The lady that you talked to was probably representative of an extreme and minority view that you'd probably struggle to find in every settlement in England. Certainly, you wouldn't find a similar opinion in any great quantity here in Long Sutton. Having said that, there is a resistance to change, particularly in the built environment. What we have here is an emerging new aesthetic, one that unashamedly proffers a more responsible approach to energy generation, energy conservation and food production. How is it that we are going to prepare ourselves for a planet that's warming, for an environment that's getting ever more poisonous? It's only through development like this and a change in our attitude to the way in which we perceive and manage resources that we stand any hope of maintaining a civilized civilization.
Love it or hate it, Dr. Jerry Harrell's style of tackling ours and the house and industry's reliance on fossil fuels seems to be bearing fruit. One thing is certain, the issue of global warming and our part in it doesn't seem to be going away. Who knows if such radical methods as Jerry's will ever win over the hearts and minds of the public and industry it seeks to revolutionise.